Well, good Friday morning to you. This is Katrina Madewell. I'm your host. This is Tampa Home Talk, and we're glad you're here. We have a super special edition of today's show planned. Do you know why? Mr. Pat, I know you're listening.
Oh, I know why, because you've got one of the biggest celebrities you've had in a long time on hold right now.
And there's another thing that's going on today, too.
Yes, it is that young man's birthday that is sitting adjacent to you.
Mr. Leo Cannon, happy birthday. Yay. And, of course, we have Adam Talley with Talley Insurance hanging out with us in the studio, too. Welcome back, Adam.
Oh, thank you for having me. Happy Friday, everybody.
He's going to tell you what you need to do once you start building all of that assets in terms of insurance. So without further ado, we're going to welcome back Mr. Chris Hogan, one of the Ramsey personalities, and we're so excited to talk all about his new book coming up, Everyday Millionaires. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Well, thank you very, very much. It is an honor to be with you all again.
So how have you been? I heard a little snippet yesterday of you and Dave on the air, and I just love hearing the two of you. And I heard like an interview style where you were interviewing Dave. I love it.
Well, yeah. We were diving in, and we were talking about real estate.
My favorite topic.
I know. And so I just took that opportunity because Dave just is a fanatic about real estate, and the caller had called in and was wanting to know how to begin to invest in it. And so I just took that opportunity to just dig in and to extract his knowledge for all the listeners out there, and it was a lot of fun.
Did you get some good feedback from that show? I imagine you did, didn't you?
We did. I mean, I haven't gone to look to see, but just, people love talking to Dave. I mean, he is America's voice on money, and so any opportunity, that I get to extract some of his wisdom for the listeners and people out there, that's always fun.
Take it while you can occupy his time, right? Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So without further ado, can we just back up for a minute, Chris, because I have had you on the show before. So, of course, I know what your background is with Dave. But I just love the story. I think it's so fascinating, the story of how you and Dave met. Just real quickly, can you run through that? Because I think it's such a neat story.
Sure. Well, to let people know out there, I'm a financial expert and author and speaker. I've been a part of Dave's team for 13 years now. But the way that I met Dave, I was working in mainstream banking and wasn't happy. I was seeing how money was impacting people's lives, and I was frustrated, and I was trying to spend time trying to educate people. And so there was a charity event that was going on, and I was invited there with some friends, and it was to help families in need. And while there was an item there called Dave's Chair where you could bid on it. There was a silent auction. You could bid on it, and you could go sit in on the show with Dave Ramsey. And so it wasn't that you were going to be on air, but you could just sit in and watch. Well, my wife bid on it and won it, and she goes, "No, go meet him." And so I laughed, and I said, "Fine, I'll go there." And so I ended up coming. I was only going to stay for an hour, and I really got a chance to hear Dave's heart and his message. And more importantly, I got a chance to see what this man was doing for people off air, all the resources he was giving them and pointing them in the direction, and I was really impressed. Well, 2 days after that, Dave calls me. I get a voicemail that said it was Dave, and I didn't know if it was him or not, so I was busy. I was running around, and so I didn't call back immediately. And so a day later, he calls again, and I heard the message. I go, "Man, this sounds like Dave." Well, guess what? It was. And he wanted us to get together and meet and really talk about money. I was working with pro athletes and entertainers at the time, and he wanted to know more about what I was doing because he was trying to educate people. So anyway, we started talking and really struck up a vast friendship, this camaraderie type spirit. And essentially, 3 weeks later, I was here working as a part of the team.
So we had you on before. I remember when you wrote your first book, Retire Inspired. And I was blessed enough to get an advanced reader's copy and check that out. And it was really, really great. Like, I love the message. And I think, sometimes...
Get closer to the mic.
Sometimes in Dave's world, you know what I mean? You can get into, get rid of the debt. And then what happens once you get rid of the debt? You have to actually build something worth leaving, right? And I think that's the bigger picture, and that's where you fit in.
You're absolutely right. And for me,
right. You guys need to adjust your mics. Get closer. Get closer, you guys.
Sitting and talking with people, that was my style. I knew we had the how-to. What I wanted to do was to connect people's whys to the plan. I wanted to find out, what did they want? What did they want to do? What was their motivating factors? And I knew that as a coach, I'm a former athlete, as you know, but I knew if I could connect their why to the plan that I had for them, that I could help them get to where they wanted to go. And so that's essentially what Retire Inspired was about. It was giving America a wake-up call about retirement, that it's not an old people thing, it's a smart people thing.
Right.
And it's not about your age, it's about your numbers. So I wanted to help people wake up, see that, so they could start to impact their future.
So, I'm curious, with you having that football background, Chris, was a lot of your mission, your thought going into this, hey, how can I connect with these football players that make just an incredible amount of money over a period of maybe 2, 3, 4, if they're lucky, 10 years in their career as an NFL player? How can I teach them to, live below their means and build wealth with this income that they have? Was that ever part of your big vision?
Oh, it really was. I mean, and that was not only with athletes, but with entertainers and musicians as well. I mean, and at the end of the day, I love people. I know people have dreams. People want to take care of their families. People want to be able to do things they want to do. And so I just felt this burden in myself to be able to be a part of the solution, right? If you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem.
That's right.
So really working with people and helping them to maximize, and even for regular everyday people, that you don't have to be a pro athlete or an entertainer to be able to have a solid financial future.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's this book. I mean, tell me about your journey writing. I might be getting a little bit ahead, but after you wrote, your first book, Retire Inspired, what prompted you to create this next book? And we'll talk about it a little bit more, of course, in the coming minutes ahead. But where did this whole idea, this whole thought come from?
Well, I mean, after doing Retire Inspired and helping people wake up to their retirement dream, I started thinking, as I was talking to people and people were walking through the process and they were on the journey building wealth, I really wanted to know, is wealth building possible in America? Is the American dream still alive? Right? You hear the media reports, you see the newspaper articles about the stock market this and jobs in this and income inequality and all these other topics, but I wanted to know the truth. So I started just asking questions to myself and talking to some people. And as I was doing that, I was finding out there were people that were following this process over time, and they were building wealth. And so a lot of people felt that the American dream wasn't alive anymore, that it wasn't available to them. And so this research project, that's why we talked to and over 10,000 millionaires for this book, all across the country. I wanted to know the truth. Is the American dream still alive? And more importantly, is it available for everyday people?
So what's the American dream to you, Chris? When you say that,
Wow,
what do you mean by that?
That's a fantastic question. Yeah. Well, the American dream for me is being financially independent, being able to not only take care of myself but my family and really set up a legacy for one day my great-great-grandchildren, right, will be able to do some things differently because I took the time, the effort to plan. It's about impacting my community, being able to give to charities, to be able to give to causes that I believe in, and not just with money but with my time and my talent. Right? I think if people are freed up to do more about what they care about, we can have a positive impact on this world. And so that, for me, is about having that independence, having the freedom and the opportunity to do the things we want to do.
Yeah, it's interesting because, when I hear you say the American dream, for me and for a lot of folks I talk to, that's home ownership. And a lot of time it's owning their first home. And it's interesting how those two things totally intertwine.
It's so important. I mean, if you think about it, what you all do and what realtors do across the country, you literally hand people the keys to that first phase of their American dream, to be able to own a home. And I've talked to a lot of people out there as I travel and speak at events, and a lot of people are asking me, Chris, is it possible for me to ever own a home? I really want one for my kids and my family. And so to help people get that plan, to be able to move in that direction, it's fantastic.
Yes.
And it opens up doors of opportunity. And I think that's at the heart of what I try to do. I'm trying to help people change their thinking. And if they change their thinking, they can change their lives.
Absolutely, Chris. And, we're very honored and proud to be an ELP
30
as
seconds.
well, which, we're allowed to announce. And we get connected with so many people that come through DaveRamsey.com to connect with us as an ELP. We'll be back right after this break. Stick around. Tampa Home Talk, we're here today with a little bit slow birthday boy, Leo.
I'm just excited. For my birthday, I'm going to read off some hot properties that I'd like everyone to take a moment and think, do I want to live here? Do I want to pay this price? Do I want to help that first step towards my wealth development? Not mine, but yours. Up first, I have 8801 Rustic Trail Court. This is looking at about 2,800 square feet. It's in Tampa, 33635. Beautifully built in 1994. We're looking at about $350,000 for this property. And again, if you want to find out more information about any of these properties that I'm about to mention, you can reach us at
813-377-2775.
What was that number?
That's our off-air number. You can call or text 813-377-2775. And I can look right behind me if I forget 377.
Oh, I get one right over there. In this next property, I've got some extra information for you. This is Riverview, which is a very up-and-coming community. It's right on the cusp of being near 75. It's easy to get to Tampa. We got 12325 Prairie Valley Lane. 3,000 square feet, 315,000. Again, it's 12325 Prairie Valley Lane, 3,000 square feet, 315,000. And I have even more information for you. Well, I don't, but Adam does.
I was going to say, didn't you do a homeowner's insurance quote on that one for us, Adam?
Yeah, we started a quote on that, and surprisingly, with the size of that home, we were still able to find something for $757 for the entire year.
That's incredible.
Is that because it's all built in 2013?
2013 definitely helps.
Yeah, this got 6 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. So if you break it down, it's like $150 for insurance per bedroom.
Yeah, that's good.
That's amazing. And
Start charging rent.
Also have a little bit of vacant land for those in the Wesley Chapel area.
A little bit. It's an acre. Almost an acre. It's like 0.99.
So I got a place where I can put 6 houses in Wesley Chapel. For $45,000, you can be the proud owner of 6848 Quail Hollow Boulevard. This is in Wesley Chapel. It's a 0-bedroom, 0-bathroom. Make it your own. Make it your American dream. But that being said, let's take it back to Chris.
And we have some coming soon listings that are not yet on the market that you're going to tell you about a little bit later in the show. And if you're just now tuning in, we have Mr. Chris Hogan hanging out with us. And he's write the new book already, Everyday Millionaires. And Chris, did your office tell you that we get to give out some of those when it launches on the 7th?
Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, they told me that. And, that's a fun thing, you all. I am so excited about this project. And the full title is Everyday Millionaires, How Ordinary People Built Extraordinary Wealth and How You Can Too.
I love it.
Because I want people to know the truth. So I'm excited you all get to give some out. I'll have to send you a few more so you can do more later.
Oh, we would love that, Chris. We'd be absolutely honored. I'm just curious, and I know there's some specifics you want to talk about and some stuff you don't because there's a lot of really great details packed into the book. But how long did it take you? You said you interviewed how many millionaires?
Yes, we did the largest research study that's ever been done on net worth millionaires. So we talked to over 10,000. All across the country. And so, it was a massive project. The research alone was almost a year long, as you can imagine, talking
That's
to that
all?
many people. Yeah, and synthesizing the information. Our research team is fantastic, but we also used a research firm because we talked to people that knew of Dave, we talked to people that knew of me, but we talked to a whole lot of people that didn't know either one of us because we wanted to know really the truth about wealth building in America today.
So is that like, I have $1 million, I qualify for your 10,000 person study, or is this like I have to have multiple $1 million?
No, great question. Yeah, no. So it was about having a net worth of $1 million. So again, let's talk about what that doesn't mean. When we talk about millionaires, we're not talking about somebody that makes $1 million a year. We're talking about somebody that has a net worth of $1 million. So that means you take what you own minus what you owe. So what you own, meaning your 401ks, your 403bs, your Roth IRAs, minus any debt you have. If that equals $1 million, then that makes you a millionaire.
And that includes your house. That's debt.
That is correct.
And even though, I hear, it was interesting, Chris, I had Rachel on, she's been on a couple times, but the last time she had on, she says, are you coming in to do your debt-free scream? I said, no, I still owe money on my house.
Yes, well, and with the debt-free screams, there's 2 of them. There are people that come in when they pay off all their consumer debt.
Turn your mic up
and
more,
then there
Katrina.
are people that come in to do their debt-free scream when they're completely 100% debt-free. That would be including the house. So there are two versions of the debt-free screen that are available. So if people pay off their credit card debt, their student loans, and their cars, and all they own is the house, they can come in and do a debt-free screen.
They can.
That is, yes.
To me, though, but to me, Chris, especially being an ELP, I think I'm held to a higher standard, so that would mean absolutely zero debt.
Well, I understand.
Much better.
I totally get it. And so it's one of those things, as you all well know, in helping people to get there, right? We're pointing people in a direction. That's what we do. You all provide guidance on the American dream of home ownership, and what we're providing guidance on is for their financial futures. And so, we're all working together to try to help people.
So it's interesting, even the title of the book, Chris. It's Everyday Millionaires, How Extraordinary People Build Extraordinary Wealth, and how you can too. Can we give a little bit of a teaser to the book to talk about, why that whole title is in there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the focus was on, I wanted to know the truth, right? And so as it is, Everyday Millionaires, how ordinary people built extraordinary wealth and how you can too, the goal was to show that you don't have to have special talents. You don't have to make a high income. You don't even have to have a high-end job. This book is studying these everyday millionaires, people that are working regular, everyday jobs, but they followed a process and a plan to be able to build wealth. And so anybody can do it, from a person that is a school teacher all the way up to somebody that's working in management. It's available to you. We just have to make the decision and start to work the plan.
So I'm curious. You said that a couple times, Chris. You said you want to know the truth. And so, obviously being, you're in your environment, you believe everything that, is in your environment, and you're obviously part of that culture. And, I've been to your organization. There's an incredible culture there among all the people that work there. But you're saying you want to know the truth. And so it's interesting. Did you have a thought that maybe somebody outside of never hearing of Dave Ramsey, never hearing of you, but yet they're still a millionaire? Did you have a thought that maybe there was a little bit something more there? Because you say you want to know the truth.
Yeah, I wanted to know the reality. I wanted to know what people thought. And what I'm saying by that is, in the book, I do a few things. First thing, I chop down some myths that people believe about millionaires. Then I show some stats from this research project of over 10,000 millionaires, and then I talk about some of the attributes. And so when I say truth, it was asking, people, what did they think? For example, a lot of people believe that wealthy people inherited all their money. This is what people think. But the reality is that it didn't. There was a small percentage of people that inherited anything at all, and so that helps people believe that, hey, okay, I don't have to inherit money to build wealth. I can build it on my own. And we have to be careful of what we think, because our thoughts control our actions. And so if I could tell people the truth and the reality about what it takes to become a millionaire in America today, now they can start to believe that they can do it as well. And that's what I want them to do.
It's interesting that you say that, Chris, and how the common theme is people think, oh, well, somebody must have inherited their money. And the truth behind that is, I can guarantee you, if you did another study of people that actually inherited money, and if they have that money left, and if they were able to make that money work for them, I bet you that number would be substantially smaller.
It would be, but again, I've not inherited a dime, right? I haven't, and I don't expect to. But there's a lot of people out there that say, my parents aren't going to hand me anything, or my grandparents aren't giving me anything. And in their mind, if they think that's the only way they can build wealth is by inheritance, right, then they feel defeated.
Well, they've got the wrong mindset too, right?
It is the wrong mindset, because when you have a defeated mindset on something, it leads to other areas as well. And so I want people to think differently and know the truth. There's people think, well, I have to have a high-paying job in order to build wealth. No, you don't. I was talking to regular, everyday people, that were making, 30, 40, 50,000 a year, but they built wealth over time because they followed a process. So I just want people to know the truth so they can change their beliefs and really start to think that they can do it as well.
They absolutely can, but it's about the habits, and what you do. And, Dave always says, if you live like no one else, then later you can live and give like no one else. And that's absolutely true. And, I can't tell you the times I've helped people anonymously or past clients because I wanted to and I had it to give. It's an incredible feeling.
Yes, it is.
When we come back after the break, Chris, I would love to talk a little bit about, from your perspective, because you have several children, several boys that you're growing up, and this big vision. So no doubt about it, you will retire a multimillionaire, as will Dave, and then he has his kids, of course. Rachel, probably the most well-known because she's really tied into your organization. But tell me what that looks like for you guys. Like, how do you feel? Because it's not like, oh, I'm getting this big inheritance. The kids' mindsets are totally different as well. And I would love to talk about that when we come back right after the break. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Tune in. You can get us at 103.1 FM, 92.1 FM, 1010 AM, or HD Radio 99.5 HD2. All of our shows will go to a podcast and they're videoed live. So if you're watching on the Facebook feed, we'll get you the whole thing in just a bit. We'll be back in a minute. Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talk. I'm your host, Katrina Madewell. And in about 10 minutes, stick around. We're going to talk about that listed.com and talk about why all real estate agents are not created equal and why that might not actually work for you. So welcome back, Mr. Chris Hogan. Any thoughts on that?
No, I will leave that to you all.
I knew you'd have a chuckle out of that one at the least.
Yes.
So where we left off before the break, I was saying that a lot of the people, you guys interviewed a lot of millionaires for your new book, Everyday Millionaires, How Ordinary People Build Extraordinary Wealth, and You Can Too. And we talked about how the general misconception is, well, they inherited it. They must have had a lot of money. And we were talking that, no, actually the people that inherit a lot of money have the wrong mindset and actually end up with none of the money left. And so, when you work as hard as some of you folks have and how I have, and I have my own opinions on this, which I'll be gladly to share, whether today or another day, but talking about yourself and Dave specifically, right? You have children, you're going to be leaving this huge legacy behind, and with that also comes, a very important responsibility component behind stewardship, right?
Oh, it really does. I mean, it is so important to not only, be focused and to be able to build it, but let's make sure that we're handling it the right way. And, the word stewardship simply means management. And you want to have understanding of it and to make sure, that you're training up children to help them to understand how money works. And that's something that you can do at an early age. I've got 3 boys. And when they were young, beginning at 5 and 6 years old, we started to teach them about money. There was typically 3 categories that I worked with them on. It was the giving, it was the saving, and then the spending. And I wanted them to have healthy habits early and to be able to learn that, because I know that I plan to, leave them money. I plan for them to leave money to their kids one day. So this all begins with a process. But as parents, I think we have to take the lead in educating and encouraging kids to understand how money works.
Definitely. And I think that's part of it. It's really about the mindset. It's the saving, it's the spending, it's the giving. And there's a little part in there too that I feel is kind of left out, Chris. And that's living within your means.
No, it really is. And when you say that phrase, a lot of people have asked me, what does live within your means? What does that really mean? Well, essentially, it's a basic statement that you all have heard me and Dave say for years. It's spend less than you make, right? That means understanding what does it take for you to run your household month in and month out. I'm talking about a budget. Understanding how much is your rent, how much are your utilities, how much are you spending on food. And so, we can put parameters around that. We can control money. And those with kids will love this. I figured out years ago that you can make your money obey better than your kids do.
Nice blue banner there on the window.
And
That's
so
a good one.
Money will listen. We tell it where to go, and when it's allowed to leave, it will obey if we tell it.
Exactly. And that's, when I think living well below your means, I think, what happens if your world is turned upside down tomorrow and you lose your job, or your business gets wiped out, or the housing market crashes like it did a couple years ago? I was one of those few agents that was able to sustain that market. And you know what it took? a lot of savings, a lot of diligence, a lot of reallocating your budget, and then you have to spend even more or less in a market like that. So if you lose your job, you're definitely not going out to eat, right?
That's exactly right. And it's about taking control. With that unexpected life thing happening, that's why we tell people, to have an emergency fund. You want to have 3 to 6 months of your expenses tucked away, because when life happens, you want to be prepared. If you
guys say 3 to 6 months, Chris, but I got to tell you, if you're self-employed, I'm going to say always 6 months plus.
I agree. And I appreciate you bringing that up. The more stable your income is, if you're an income of 2 and you've got both working, 3-month emergency fund is fine. But if you're self-employed or a commissioned salesperson, then 6 months is definitely the amount you want to have saved up. So that way, when the business things tick down or you get an unexpected emergency, you've got money set aside to help you continue to live your life.
Absolutely. So a couple more questions for you. What was the one thing that really, really surprised you, in this whole thing? I know you said you set out to find the truth and, do the largest study ever with millionaires. But what was the one thing in this whole study and the whole wrap-up of this book that really surprised you?
Well, I think when it boiled down to looking at the occupations of these millionaires, that was my biggest shock. For example, we had engineers were number one, then accountants, and then seeing just regular everyday people work a regular everyday job that they were just these were people making an average income.
Leo, my counterpart next. My counterpart next to me, Chris, Leo, he's doing the happy dance because he happens to be an engineer by trade, and you started off with that one. You loved it.
Well, the main thing is that they weren't celebrities. They weren't pro athletes. They weren't musicians. These are everyday people that are working jobs. But again, they're consistently following a plan and staying in control of their money.
And that's kind of the whole point, right? That's the whole point. These are everyday people.
That's exactly right. And when people understand that, then they go, well, if they can do it, then I can too. And that's the mindset that I want people to have. I can too. Not that they're excluded or not that it's not available to them. So I'm excited for people to get the book. I'm excited for people to hear this information. All they have to do is go to my website, chrishogan360.com, and they can get that information and find out more.
Absolutely. And we actually are going to give away some books, but not just yet. So stick around because we're going to give away a couple copies of Chris Hogan's new book that will be out on January 7th. Chris, if you guys have not done the front of that book, I would highly encourage you to put the word "you" in capital bold letters because I think it matters in the overall premise of this book.
No, I totally agree.
Time to say goodbye to them.
Very, very important. And I'm excited for people to get this information and the truth so they can start building their own financial legacy.
And my very, very last question for you. How do you think this whole study in this new book is going to fit into the whole Dave Ramsey culture?
Well, I think, our goal is to help people. And, Dave talks about the getting out of debt, and I help people understand their retirement dreams. I think, at the end of it all, what we're trying to do is to help people to become financially independent so they can live their dreams. So I think this book fits right behind my first book, Retire Inspired. And I think, between the Total Money Makeover, Rachel Cruz' Love Your Life, Not Theirs, my book, Retire Inspired, their book, Smart Money, Smart Kids, along with this book, Everyday Millionaire, I think we've got a fantastic group of books with information to guide people regardless of where they are.
And here's the thing, all of these books fit the right person at the right time at the right place in their life. So the old saying, when the student's ready, the teacher will appear.
I completely agree.
So, hey, Chris, it was an honor to have you back on Tampa Home Talk again. We really appreciate your time. I know it's kind of early there. You're an hour ahead of us, and we really want to thank you again for tuning in to Tampa Home Talk, and I can't wait to catch up with you the next time I see you guys.
Well, thank you so much, and I can't wait to see you all and join you again.
Hey, don't miss, again, Chris Hogan's new book coming out January 7th, Everyday Millionaires, How Extraordinary People Build Extraordinary Wealth, and how you can too. We'll go ahead and open up those studio phone lines, Pat, and you can go ahead and get some folks lined up for the new book. We're going to give some away. These are going to be signed copies by Chris Hogan, so you won't want to miss it. We'll be able to get it to you right away. 888 888-404-1010. 888-404-1010. Just call in. Pat George will take your information, and you'll be one of the first to get Chris Hogan's brand new book, Everyday Millionaires, How Ordinary People Build Extraordinary Wealth, and you can too. 888-404-1010.
Does he have an audiobook? I really enjoyed the sound of his voice.
He does. Like, the running joke is his voice is like when he comes in, it's with a boom. Like,
Yeah.
I heard him and Dave talking the other day, and I forgot what it was, and I'm like, yeah, right, with that voice.
Yeah, audiobook all the way. Sign me up.
Yeah, and he does it too. I love it when the authors read their book, because I listen to a lot of Audible, and it's just different when the person that wrote it reads it, because they know all the highlights. They're going to be able to like just read with so much more emphasis certain parts that really matter most to them.
I don't know. Getting Vincent Price or Chris Lee to read a horror novel.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't read that kind of stuff, though, so, you know. But, okay, so let's go back to that lovely little commercial that aired at halftime, shall we?
I wanted to talk about listings, but okay.
All right, so let's talk about that, right? Because, Pat, and you can chime in at any time you want. But all these little companies that are popping up, you know, flat fee, list this, list that, and you heard that little chuckle behind Chris Hogan's voice. That was for a reason. And I can tell you that not all real estate agents are created equal. I'll give you a prime example. Yesterday, I had a client close on a brand new home. New construction, stellar deal. This end of this month is the builder's fiscal year end. You know what happens when that happens. You're getting the best possible deal you can get on a brand new home. And so this couple, you know, were very particular. They wanted their payment a certain thing. We needed every bit of their equity to put down on the new home in order to make this happen. And the builder was not going to take a contingency for the sale of their home. So that they just said, no, we're not going to do it. And I said, great. We're going to sign the contract anyway. So we did. We signed the contract to buy a brand new home. No contingency. Their home wasn't even listed yet. And guess what? We got everything done in less than 30 days. Closed the same day, wired the money one title company to the next.
How many books are we giving away? I got a ton of calls.
We're going to give away as many as they send us, and I'm going to buy some extra, so we'll make sure they all get a book. So just keep taking names and numbers, okay? All right.
We'll do it.
Thank you. So I'm glad to hear you guys are listening. Thank you. And we will take some feedback on the show. We'd love to know how you thought the interview went with Chris Hogan, if there's anything you thought I should have asked him that I didn't, and what you thought about it in general. And our off-air number is 813-377-2775. You can call or text that number, 813-377-2775. All right, Peanut Gallery over there, you're a little bit quiet. What do we got out of you?
Was Adam or me?
I don't know who wants to talk.
Oh, new listing, my favorite.
No, these are not yet live.
This new listing isn't yet live?
Oh, yeah, that one is.
It
is.
It's on my live list.
Coming soon.
No, this is new listing. This
It's
is brand new. At this price, by the time I even say this, these books are going to fly. This listing will fly faster than Chris Hogan's book. 5952 Moore Loop, 33615. That's Town and Country. It's a 3-2, 868 square feet, only $125,000.
Right by the airport.
You can buy this house. You can pay it off. You can be building your wealth on something like that.
All right, coming soon.
Coming soon. 4407 Venice Drive in Land O'Lakes.
Lake Pageant East.
Oh, and we've got this one's only $160,000. And we've got
with a garage.
We got a couple of short sales on here.
We do. They still exist.
Wait.
We're going to see more in
Wasn't
January.
9011 Oyster Shell? Wasn't that coming soon 2 weeks ago?
It's not yet live.
Oh, so coming soon, the Oyster Shell.
That is
9011.
a beautiful home in Odessa on a ski lake.
It's got 0.63 acres.
Yes.
And then we've also got 12814 Belvedere Song Way in
There
Riverview.
you go. For $150.
150, you can't beat it. That's over 1,800 square feet. You can buy all these homes in cash using Chris Hogan's book, and you will be on your way to becoming the next
If you
millionaire for interview.
Don't have the cash and you're interested, we can hook you up. Again, 813-377-2775.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Love where you live, or we'll fix it. That's all three of us will fix it. And
You got that right.
I'm just amazed that none of the three of us were interviewed, were we, for that book?
No, I know, right?
Where did he get his list?
I probably ignored the call because I didn't recognize the
I
number.
still have my house.
Where did he get his list from? Is this like
That's a good question.
People
We
who
should have
don't,
asked him that.
yeah, people who don't know they're millionaires are all of a sudden going to get a phone call. We know you're a millionaire. Can we ask you these brief 5-question survey
No, but
for
they
a book?
know. All those research people, they know, like, money that you make. They have a general idea, net worth. Like, even Adam was talking about that over the break, right? You can tell.
Yeah, just no.
So how do you know? How do you know?
Well, there's a lot of different factors that go into it, but you can.
You got gray hair. Hold still. Ooh. Go ahead.
Little birthday gray hair there. Nice. I didn't know. I'll get you just for men for your birthday next year.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I think a lot of it is, you can tell by, what they do, how they present themselves, how they talk. In my field, obviously, we get a little bit deeper into, where they live, what cars they have, that type of stuff. And, I think you just get a feel for people.
But you also can't judge a book by its cover,
100%
right?
true.
So,
I will tell you probably.
If you see me drive up in my little banged up Prius with, paint on the side of it, you would have no idea how much money I have.
100% true. 100% true.
Wait, so
But
you're
that's
saying
my
you were
real
interviewed
estate
for the
car.
book?
I'm not talking about anything.
Oh.
So it's interesting, and you didn't even hear what he said, but I was asking him about, what was the thing that surprised him with all these millionaires that he interviewed. And there was a ton of people like engineers that made regular salaries.
That doesn't surprise us, though. You got the detail-oriented, money-oriented people who scrutinize everything on the list.
But I'm so not that.
But engineers aren't ordinary people.
No, not
They're
at all.
very special.
Extraordinary.
Just like you, Leo.
Extraordinary.
I was hoping to hear stuff like bartenders and
I'm sure they're in there.
oh yeah, some of the high, like the ones that work at Burns Steakhouse.
Oh,
They make
yeah.
bank.
But even aside from that, it's, you think of your bartenders, they're your party people, and sometimes they are. But, So I probably should give Pat George a break and go ahead and congratulate Leslie, Darlene, Donna, Joel, and Kurt. Thank you for listening. Thank you for calling in for the book. I think they're only going to give away 2, but we'll make sure you get 5. But there's 5 signed copies that go out to you guys. And if you're still calling in, you can just call our number. We'll make sure you get one. We're going to get some extras from Dave's office. 813-377-2775. Call or text. We'll make sure.
Stop that.
The off-air number, don't call Pat. He's going to hang up on you. Call 813-377-2775.
Yeah, do not call 888-404-1010. I repeat, do not call 888-404-1010. You do not call that number to get a book.
Bing! The pitchforks or the horns just popped out. You got a little bit of your own medicine, didn't you, Pat?
Ah, excellent.
You guys, I'm not on the air. I'm just in your ears.
We know. We know you're just in our ears.
Oh, don't worry. We hear you.
We
know.
That's why we repeat what you say.
And we know what's on the... I think for the most part, I can tell what's on the air and what I can't. It sounds a little different, doesn't it? Our headphones are a little bit confusing, because we can hear Pat talking sometimes where it's not on the air, but only we can hear him.
Well, if it's traffic and weather, he's on the air.
But he's on.
And if he's making fun of us or trying to trip us up,
yeah,
he's in our ear.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
So again, if you would like, thank you, that's lovely. Would like one of Chris's books, 813-377-2775. Really cool guy. If you ever talk to Chris Hogan, the dude 6'5", huge. His voice matches his look. Right? He was a football player, of course, and it's just interesting how he took this whole idea of, hey, ordinary people really can become millionaires too. And I think the difference is you don't spend your money like everybody else spends it. You don't spend your money like society tells you you're supposed to spend it, right? They tell you get a raise or, oh, you're a doctor. You should go out and go ahead and purchase a $1 million property. You'd be surprised how many times we see this. I showed a $1.2 million property about a week ago. Fresh out of residency, has his own practice, brand new, self-employed. And, I look at some of that stuff and I'm like, you want to, I don't know, I should just hand him one of Chris's books. Don't you think? All right. So this is pretty spot on for our real estate tip of the day. And so my tip for today is going to be, you can go ahead and sign up for one of those flat fee listings. You can absolutely do that. But what you should know if you do that is there's a lot of things that you don't know that you don't know. So I'm going to give you an example of what happens if you decide to do that. That's kind of like showing up, playing Monopoly. You've never played Monopoly before. You haven't read the rule books. You just know a little bit about it. You've observed somebody, or maybe you've played Monopoly once or twice before. And then you're going to come in and you're going to play Monopoly against somebody like me that plays it every single day for the last 27 years. And it might not necessarily go how you intend it to go. And so, it's one of those things where, again, Dave's office only endorses the right people. We sell a lot of real estate. Our negotiating skills are worth every single penny that we're paid. I can promise you that. And, do you know how much flack I took from this builder from that example I told you about, Leo? They're like, but they don't have a contingency to sell. And I said, so what? We're going to close on time. But the builder wants it to close early. I said, so what? We're going to close by our date on the contract. So it's just about, being able to push back and tell them, okay, the VP doesn't like it. Have him call me. I'll talk to him. It's not your fault. It's mine. I'll talk to him. So it's those bold conversations behind the scenes that you guys don't see that make all the difference in the world, because really that's where the experience and the difference comes in. We're not going to let somebody push one of our clients around and take money from them. We're going to make sure they get every single dollar that they're entitled to. We're going to treat their money like it's our own.
Oh, very nice. Actually, I can go into my insurance tip of the week
Please
off of that. So you get a lot of people and they see all these commercials flooded on TV right now with auto insurance commercials. We can help you save here or there. A lot of times they're calling a 1-800 number. It's a call center. These people, they just have a number. That's all you are to them. They know you're trying to get the cheapest thing possible, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you're covered. A lot of people call and they say, oh, I want full coverage. Well, there's not a full coverage button on any policy I've ever written. So a lot of times that just means they need comp and collision to cover a loan. There's a lot of gap in there when it comes to liability and everything else.
Give me one example where you had one of your people covered and they probably wouldn't have been if they called one of those toll-free numbers. Quickly.
They called and they had 1020, no uninsured motorist, no anything else, just 1020
What happened?
PIP. I was able to save them a lot of money and increase their coverage, made them a lot more better protected, and then
30 seconds.
And I think the thing is, people don't know what a lot of that means, and that's what we're here for. So you can call our author number. We'll get you connected with Adam Talley, 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775. Remember, love where you live, or we're going to fix it, all three of us, myself, Leo, and Adam. Welcome home, and we're out.